welcome everybody to Bar Talk, the spirits and beverage podcast at the Relief and Resource Company in Fenton, Michigan. I am your host, John Foley. As always, I am here with Mark Miller.
Hello, hello.
And our special guest podcaster, Hassan Rutherford, an old friend who is a local wine professional, sommelier at Single Barrel Social in Brighton, Michigan, which is just down the street in Livingston County, about 25 minutes away from where we record this. Although we did work together for years.
Oh, yeah.
Down the street at the Laundry. And he is going to take us through some Italian white wines, regions and varietals that we're really excited about, that I think will be great additions to your fridge or your cellar for this spring and summer. So we're kind of doing a little bit of a seasonal show and checking out some of these wines that maybe haven't crossed your radar, but are definitely very affordable, extremely food friendly, and really exciting, and get you away from just pounded Sauv Blanc and Rosé this summer, which there's nothing wrong with. I will drink the crap out of both those varietals. Yes. However, variety is fun. Also, quick mention to our production partners at iLogic Media. Thank you as always for everything that you do. Check out all the rest of their content. They have expanded some of their stuff. There's more history stuff.
Yes. There's
a little bit more of political content. Mm-hmm. And also this is a great time for those fantasy baseball podcasts.
Fantasy baseball,
yes. Them. Tigers were up on the Red Sox 3-1 when I sat down. So we'll see.
Yes.
See if they can inch over 500. But
they won last night's game, right?
Yeah, I said a bomb.
Yeah.
And he stared at it. It's great. So we have 5 wines, 5 variant varietals, 5 different varietals. The unifying characteristics are Italy and dry.
And dry, yeah. The thing about Italian wines is we are all very familiar with these super sexy Italian red wines. As a matter of fact, when you say Italy, most people are already thinking about Chianti Classico or Barolo or something, stuff like that. But I think that a lot of people, because you spend too much time in grocery stores at the end cap, focus on New Zealand Sauv Blancs and whatever rosé happens to land in your hand. And I think you're missing out on some really fantastic stuff that's very affordable and very food friendly from Italy.
I think a good chunk of the understanding of Italian varietals in a strictly layman's sense is really Pinot Grigio and Prosecco.
Yeah. Italy has
Moscato.
So much more to offer. That Moscato's gotten a bad name. I didn't bring any Moscato because I wanted
to
focus
good
on,
Moscato.
There's some really good Moscato. I didn't bring any because I felt like that was a name that most people are familiar with.
I'll sexy up and drink some Moscato though.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah, if I'm feeling breezy and I have some melon handy.
I'm not doing that without a pair of driving slippers and some and a velvet blazer.
Driving slipper. It's a driving slipper.
It's that slipper that has a little clasp on it that's made out of velvet that goes underneath with the little knobs.
Oh man,
shit!
And you got to wear the velvet blazer with that bad boy too.
I don't have one.
I'm putting my pinky out.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my pinky out later anyway because it just feels good to stretch.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
you gotta spread your base.
Mm-hmm.
Downward dog pinky.
Excellent. So we're starting
with some one of my favorite Italian whites, and we're starting with Soave. So Soave comes from a region of Italy actually called Soave, central northern Italy. Veneto, it's actually part of Veneto. It's a sub-appellation. The grape is typically 70% Garganaga, and then you often have a little bit of a Trebbiano di Soave thrown in there. But this one that we're trying in Ama is a Soave Classico, and it is 100% Garganaga.
Is that a requirement designation for Soave Classico?
It has to be at least 70%.
Oh, it has to be 70%. Okay.
Garganaga.
How often do you see the 100% jump?
A lot, actually. Yeah. Recently, the Trebbiano di Soave is a tricky grape to grow, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So you've seen a lot of people kind of giving up on that one because it doesn't necessarily add anything. But
will that eventually change the region's stylistic style? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, will Soave Classico eventually, because of the difficulty in cultivation of the Trebbiano, will Soave change?
I think the nature of wine dictates that things that are difficult to grow are interesting to grow. So you see a lot of growers sticking with those grapes that are prima donnas. You see them because they want to be able to say, hey,
Yeah.
I got this. Yeah.
I did this thing.
Yeah.
That's actually really relieving to hear. Because you don't want it to be too ultimately streamlined.
Well, I mean, when we're talking about the 1,800 varietals that grow throughout the world that are seen in wine bottles, we've lost maybe 3,000 varietals before that. I mean, completely lost production of. Tiburon in France would be one that it's on the cusp of being lost right now.
Clos Cibon.
Yeah, Clos Cibon rosé.
Yeah,
is made with Tiburon, and Tiburon is
that contributes to the red, right? Too, that they produce. Yeah,
it's almost gone. They are one of the last 2 producers, if I'm not mistaken, that are still making that
tiny little pocket in Languedoc, and that's it.
That's it.
That's fucking awesome.
So I mean,
That's sad.
It's awesome to get the wine, but it's sad that they're the last
dying.
ones
Yeah.
making it. So I wanted to start with this one because it is, of all of the varietals I've gotten, it is I'd say the softest and has the most breadth.
When we tasted it before the show, I think that's exactly how I felt, especially about it on the mid palate aspect of it, the impact. Excuse me.
It's lovely. I mean, and it's fantastic food wine. I'm gonna go ahead and pour you some.
Okay.
We're gonna get you liquored up, John.
That's fine, and I'll pass.
We
I
usually
can pour
do.
from Mark, yeah. This won't be like the rum shows where I drink an entire zombie.
Oh God, the rum shows.
Well, that rum train's going to pull out of the station again later on the summer.
Yes, it will.
So on the palate, one of the things that's consistent with Italian wines is a bit of salinity up front. Italian whites, including Pinot Grigio. And the reason, if I can clarify, John knows this of me, that I've never been a huge fan of Pinot Grigio as a varietal because I feel like it's okay.
I'm not either, but
okay, so if you're watching the show, you're really interested in wine. Quick, think of your favorite Pinot Grigio. Bet you can't, because you can't. It's that guy you met at the party that seemed nice enough that 10 minutes after you met him, you can't remember his name.
It's like thinking of your favorite Dylan McDermott performance. You can't, because there aren't any good ones. But the pedigree is there, right? Because Pinot Gris and Pinot Blanc are good.
They're good.
It's really cool wine.
They're the same. They're actually genetically the same grape, just in various forms of mutation. All the Pinots are related. There are just in various forms of mutation. For some reason, Pinot Grigio has found itself the milquetoast brother, sitting in the back corner, staring at the wall.
Oh man. What was Bill Clinton's brother? Was it Roger Clinton? It's that guy. Trying to get like a free sandwich at a hot chicken place based on his brother being president.
I always thought of Roger Clinton as
Roger. Thank you.
The kind of guy that had a Band-Aid that was like 1/3 off and some scrapes that he couldn't explain.
Yeah.
His parole officer was still looking for him.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is mild. There's a really lovely greenness on the front end that speaks to Italian spices, like a very, very slight hint of rosemary, and then you go to lemongrass and a little bit of underripe melon.
Would you say the nose is like slate rock almost? Or am I completely off on that?
No, the nose actually has a bit of petrichor that smell right before you smell rain or before it rains.
I could see that for sure.
Absolutely. Far off, cement's wet somewhere kind of thing.
Yeah.
It definitely
very,
does.
very beautiful thought, actually. But when I was doing wine pop-ups at the laundry, and when we did events, and you and I have had this conversation before, it's really, 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 really easy to roll your eyes at tasting notes and taste descriptions from beverage professionals, because your immediate reaction is like, oh God, come on, just like tell me if it's any good. Is it going to go with my scallops? But
my scallops.
The fact is that every one of us is a subjective human who tastes things differently based on what we've brought from ourselves to the particular moment where we're tasting, what we had for breakfast this morning, all of our associations with any of these smells or tastes. So we are in this position where we have to use really imperfect symbols, words, to describe something subjective to you, which then will be filtered through your subjectivity and hopefully will translate to your understanding of a beverage that you're tasting.
I'm quite aware that I'm ridiculous.
Well, yeah, no, it's but remember that's what this is. That's why we have to do it, because somebody's got to describe what the hell this stuff tastes like, and you try to do it as best you can. But it can be for some people tiresome. But just remember that's just us trying to like convey what we're
it's not
we're
even
subjectively tasting to you.
It's not even with just wine either. It's all spirits.
It's everything.
Like every bourbon is going to have some type of barrel or caramel or vanilla flavor, and it's then
bourbon's easier because bourbon's like a big shaggy dog, and it's
right, yeah. But trying to find those different intricacies and then portray them to someone else can be
tough,
challenging sometimes.
But just know that Hassan puts a lot of thought into his tasting notes, and these don't come flying out. You've thought about these for a long time before you.
I mean, sometimes there have been times with wine, and one of the reasons I love wine is because it causes. I'm gonna sound like I do yoga and smoke a lot of weed, but there have been times when wine has literally brought me into the moment and it made me thoughtless for a second. I mean, like it stopped everything, and I was just kind of there, and that's why I chose to chase this dragon, if you will, is because of those few times in which you take a sip of something where everything just is not, but you are, and so is that wine, and so then you slow your mind down.
Scott shows that to me every time, somewhere between my 9th and 10th one of them.
And then I get to yelling.
I start looking down memory lane, checking out regrets, and then there it is. That's why very comfortable void staring right back at me.
That's why Crown Royal comes with a bag, is for your regrets.
No, but all joking aside, like that can be that way. Like it had happened to me. Like we tasted a product from Compass Box last week that like completely stopped us in our tracks. Like we just kind of, and all we could say about it for 5 minutes was, "Oh, it's so good." But you know why you think it's good, but you can't say.
And
anything.
that's
it takes you a minute. It takes a minute for your brain to pick apart those pieces that decided why it was good, because it was so good it was a bit overwhelming for a second. It was just well, hell, I need a minute to feel this.
Yeah.
And there's and that's the thing about Italian white wines, is that as we've talked about, Moscato and Pinot Grigio are the things that people talk about, but we're trying to introduce you to some things that you might not be able to find at your grocery store. You might, depending on whether you're at a Whole Foods or not. But
what about an Aldi's?
But if you want to stop by a local mom and pop wine shop, a lot of these places are going to have an iteration of this, so it doesn't have to be Enama Soave Classico. But Soave in general is going to have the characteristics that we're talking about. So even if you can't find the labels that I'm trying to show today, the varietals will carry a lot of these very specific things, as varietals should. They should have distinct characteristics. And so having said that, we're going to move on to another distinct characteristic in Robologiala.
Just remember too, one thing that I've found success with when I'm going out and looking for wine is try to patronize and engage with people who are passionate about their lists, who have written their wine lists for a reason, who have stocked their shelves for a reason, because these wine shelves at these stores and these wine lists at these restaurants will reflect the passions of the people who are involved with them. So you're going to get to learn a little bit about that buyer. You're going to learn that these lists have a personality. And that's cool. You know, like you'll get to taste some really, really fun, interesting things that are passions for the people who are providing them for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should actually clarify something I wanted to show everyone. When you're looking for Italian wines, okay, so there's a lot of things about Italy that don't function well in terms of the government.
Like their football team?
Oh my God.
Savage burn. Sorry, guys.
So many crying grown men.
4 more years for World
Why
Cup.
do this to me? Why for you do this to me?
Yes. I have a bunch of beautiful people who are very sad.
Oh, it's so bad. Don't worry, wipe the snot off your mustache, lady. It'll be fine.
Oh, shit.
Francesca's pissed.
I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of things about Italy that don't work, but there's some things that work incredibly well, like their Ministry of Tourism is fantastic, and their Ministry of Wine. So they have this very, very specific thing that they do with some of their top wines and some of their top regions. They actually give them a government label. And this light blue one or this blue one is a DOC label. That means Denominazione di Origine Controllata, which is a guarantee by the Italian government that that region has been very, very thoroughly vetted in terms of the quality of wine they're producing. So it's kind of important when you're looking at, and we'll get to some other stuff later, but it's kind of important that if you're looking at a classic style wine to find one of these or the brown label, which is DOCG, and that's even higher.
And this is just for the people who aren't watching, this is just a strip, like a neck strip.
It's like a little neck strip. It'll be up and down the bottle, or it'll be around.
Sometimes over
wire.
the top.
Yeah, sometimes over the top.
Sylvester Stallone always goes over the top.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
As a quick aside, do they also do that in Spain with some Spanish wines or no?
Spain has 2 royal regions, and they are Priorat and Rioja.
Okay.
The rest of the regions are noted, but they have 2 that have, by their wine ministry, have excelled in terms of what they produce and the style and the varietals that they produce.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this one is Poderi di Carlo. It's a Robologiala. Robologiala actually originates in Croatia, but it's mostly made in Italy. So this is some good stuff that is going to have some unusual tropical notes. The region that this is from is Northeast Italy, actually borders Croatia and Austria. It is from Venezia, Friuli.
That's another thing with assumptions about Italian wine. I feel like a lot of people, when they think of Italian wine, think solely of Tuscany and further south, Sicily, etc., and forget that so much of the high quality stuff is actually produced in the north.
Especially when it comes to white wines, northern Italy, a lot of northern Italy actually, several of these wines that we're trying that are very lovely, crispy white wines are made in regions that were formerly Germany. So this region was formerly Austria before World War II. Often when you drive in these regions, you'll find that the street signs are written in German first and Italian second, and a lot of the surnames are still German or Germanic in origin. So Robologiala was something I'd actually discovered with John. We were tasting, I believe, with either Nick or Antoine.
Yeah.
And it just kind of caught me off guard.
This would have been like 4 or 5 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
It's kind of like tart on the nose, no?
It's floral. The notes I have are floral with a hint of acacia, the flower acacia.
I ate so much acacia at one party. That kind of made me sick. I haven't really gone back to it.
You acacia'd yourself out?
It was a really intense night.
The last time I had acacia was I was somewhere in the Sargasso Sea and
Yeah.
watching the sun.
I read the book. It was beautiful.
Watching the sun go down and hallucinating wildly about horses.
While listening to Neil Young.
The acidity on this bad boy is
Banging.
Yeah.
it's
Everywhere.
It starts to peak, but then spreads
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
across
yeah.
the palate. Metallic minerality, but not in a bad way. On the tail end of tasting, and lovely tropical notes.
Mhm. Remember, acidity is not bad. It's good. In wine, it's really, really good. Think about what you're going to eat when you drink this wine. Think about any sauce that you might be using or any fat.
Really want a freaking lobster tail right now.
Sure. With drawn butter.
I don't even need the butter.
Well, I don't even need a fork. I'll eat it with my fist.
I will eat it head down.
Yep.
Hassan's always my go-to guy too. Like I'll be making something in the summer. I'll be like, Hassan, what wine do I want with this spicy as fuck, cream sauce?
Mhm.
Oh,
That's awesome. I've never tasted this particular Robologiala. It's awesome.
There is something very, very herbaceous on the sides, mid palate, that I just got on the second taste, and I didn't notice it before. I've actually had this before, but I did not notice this before. Maybe it's this bottle or this season.
That Is this a 2022?
This is a 2020 as well.
A 2020 as well. Excuse me. There are no 2022s out right now.
There better not be. They don't pick until September. if you're drinking a
That would be
2022,
impossible.
it's a toilet bowl Merlot.
Or you've fucked up the space-time continuum and you are existing in a very strange reality.
I'm telling you, it's Jiffy peanut butter. Goddamn Mandela.
Yeah. This is awesome. And just an idea, because people will want to know, like, where are we at, like, retail-wise with these couple bottles?
I don't in the bottles that I'm showing you right now are some of the they're not necessarily the reserve bottles or the top tier bottles, but we're looking at anywhere from $11 to $14 until we get to the very end, which we're looking at about $30 for the Franciacorta.
So that means you
Not bad.
have enough to get bottles to drink while you're cooking
Yes.
and during the meal, which is always kind of nice because it's also affordable enough to say if you need a white wine in the sauce and that's appropriate, you should always cook with what you're about to drink, if possible. Cooking with bad wine is not a good idea.
How liberal can I be with my speech on this show?
Very.
Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Why?
It's a 21
Because
and up
it's
It's
show.
a 21 and up show.
Because this wine makes me feel
Don't. If you admit a crime
Yeah, don't do that.
or imply a crime,
What do you think? I'm some kind of rapper?
no, I'm just saying. Like, we don't have anything that people sign. We're still very new at this.
There's not going to be a RICO case from this.
We're all going down.
No, what I was going to say was this wine makes me feel like I just got a promotion from middle management. I'm going to go home and give that lady the best 3 minutes of missionary she's had.
Oh,
See, that's mild Hassan for this show.
it's business time. That, folks, is
It's
why they
business
call
time.
them business socks.
Wait. Yeah, there we go. There you go. You ready, honey?
Oh, Booms is gonna be so sad she missed this one.
I know. And I now am very interested in my next conversation with Brooke. How is she doing, by the way? Doing great?
She is fantastic. She's browner now because she's in Florida.
She's going to listen to this show and be like, come on, man.
She's like, "This is what you did while I was gone."
Hey, baby.
Yeah, that's a gesture.
That's happening. I don't know how to stop that. That train left the station.
I'm happy to be on it. Oh, this one we tried beforehand. This is great.
Ooh,
This is
yeah.
stupid good. It is from Metallica.
Yes.
So no, Metallica is actually a region.
Yeah.
There
James
was a
Hetfield didn't
whole
set up for
conversation.
Hey, they're a very litigious group, so make sure that we
Oh yeah,
clarify
Yeah,
that.
for real though.
Formerly great speed metal band, now very, very average dad metal band. Metallica has no
Their music sounds like a
involvement with this wine at all.
Metallica doesn't. Actually, the larger region is Marche. Marche is in central eastern Italy. So if you look at the middle of the boot, it's the calf. It's on the East Coast. One of the things that they pride themselves on in this region is growing close to the sea, so that they can have what they think the terroir actually changes the wine into what we got
Yeah.
out of this thing earlier, and it is fantastic.
This is the varietal that made me start to appreciate indigenous Italian varietals.
Oh, the varietal is Verdicchio.
I love this stuff.
Verdicchio di Metallica, and again, you'll notice the little blue thing there.
Yeah.
The Robologiala, by the way, is what is called an IGT. So even this is how good Italian wines are. Even when you're breaking the rules, they have rules about breaking the rules. An IGT means Indicazione Geografica Tipica, which means that it's a grape typically grown in the region that is up for getting a DOC status, but has not yet. So Verdicchio,
So like it was like Martin Scorsese all the way through the 70s and 80s and 90s.
couldn't get
Eventually I'll get an Oscar.
couldn't get an Oscar. The Verdicchio is almost colorless. It's very, very pale straw. On the nose, it's fairly easy.
Slightly sweet though, no? On the nose?
It smells a bit like hibiscus.
Yeah.
and a little bit of beeswax.
I've had verdicchios that I love that I almost thought the nose would literally gave me very little, like almost nothing. Like it can be extremely, like it smells like wine, sort of wine, you know?
Yeah. No, I know exactly. Like when I was a kid, and being in the kitchen at my family's house on the holidays meant that there was wine being tossed around, and there was champagne being tossed around, and there was food, and then there was the cooking wine, which, forgive me, family, we used cooking wine, which is not wine. You should use only wines you would drink for your cooking.
That I used to think that was bullshit, and then long ago, I finally came around to it, and if you're not doing it, it makes all the difference in the world on your sauces.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used a cooking wine to make anything. Mainly because I'm friends with both of you, and you would be like, "What are you thinking, boy?"
Yeah, well, yeah, but we're also older too, and that's
True, yeah,
that was a generational thing. Like my parents' generation, they started discovering wine. A lot of them came into this type of culture that created the culture that we're in now, where people appreciated it, but not everybody. And I didn't come from a wine drinking family. So
I did come.
We had a box of Francia.
I came from a wine drinking family. My dad used to host wine parties in the 70s, and I'm not sure what those turned into because I went to bed. Like
they were sexy,
and there was a lot of brown paper bags leaving. But whatever, I don't know what happened.
I know a little bit about your dad's musical taste, and I know that it was a sexy party.
It was probably pretty sexy.
It's all like bow, bow, bow,
lots of low collars.
Yes.
Lots of whispering.
All in wood paneled rooms.
Yes, yeah.
And shag carpet.
Yep.
Avocado colored shag.
Oh,
yeah.
My great grandma's shag carpet was a nice, fine, dark mustard color. And we didn't know it was from the dirt.
There's a lot of brown and orange.
I believe we call that burnt umber.
Yes, that sounds right. Yeah.
It's a very intimate tone.
It is. Oh, if I could find a fridge that color these days.
Yep. But this is great food wine for me.
This is perfect for the greenest of bitter green salads. It is perfect for big flavored fishes like your fatty fishes, salmon and swordfish and things like that. It would pair very well with. So this is grown seaside, and the initial salinity of it is apparent up front. But once that salinity breaks and leaves you, you get this explosion of acidity, almost dancing acidity, and you can tell that this has been left on the lees that spent yeast for a while, because so when something's been left on lees for a while, it's that feeling you get on your tongue where it feels almost like it's effervescing, but it's not.
Oh, okay.
That's what's happening with this thing.
Stylistically very popular now.
Very popular now because I think we have Moscato to thank for that, honestly, because people got used to having a little fat bubble in their wine.
And Vino Verde, people got hit with Vino Verde too.
So do you think that's what's going on with Chocolina?
Oh no, Chocolina is different. Actually effervesced.
It is? Okay.
Barely.
Gotcha.
Barely. They put like blankets on it, right? They kind of trap it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chocolina is a whole different.
This is a Spanish
expression of Hondurebi and both of its forms.
Very specific to Basque Country.
It is only grown there. There is not another place in the world that it's grown.
Which is basically like another separate country inside of Spain.
And it's so
It is. It is. Well, the Basques are. So if you look at some of the restaurants that have come out of Basque Country and some of the wineries that have come out of Basque Country, you can tell that the Basque have a history of being seafaring folk because they traded a lot. And so when you are moving around a lot like that, like, Phoenicians essentially, you're encountering a lot of different spices, you're encountering a lot of different foods, you're encountering a lot of different combinations. So you bring those home to what is also native to you, and you combine these things.
Yeah.
Some of the top 3-star restaurants, Michelin rated in the world, have been in Basque Country for a reason. And I think it's the ability to see beyond what is local and see what's international, but what also fits locally.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans was a city like that.
New Orleans,
and the birth of its culinary culture.
But back to this wine. This wine is a fantastic food wine. So we started off with Soave, which is very, very soft, and you wouldn't want a fatty fish with that, but you would want something lean. You'd want a lean fish, a white fish, if you will. You'd want a mild green salad. You wouldn't want to overpower the Suave, and you wouldn't want the Suave to overpower what you're eating. This one is a bit more bombastic than either of the previous two that we've tried.
For sure,
I think
yeah.
we're building up.
Yeah. Where would you want? What would you want with branzino? It's a very traditional Italian dish.
Depends if it's a branzino piccata, I would probably go for this. But if it was a traditional just roasted branzino with a little bit of citrus, I'd probably go for the Suave. So like if you were doing something with a bit more punch, this one, if I was doing something milder, I'd go with the Suave.
Because I feel like this can stand up to a lot.
This can stand up to a lot of things, including some pork dishes.
Yeah.
I could
this
see
would
that
be
for
really
sure.
good with
Chicken.
the porchetta.
Chicken easily.
Yeah.
Oh, easily with any kind of poultry, even pheasant or duck. Duck, because of its fatty richness, would be really good with this. The
Slice through that oil.
The mineral properties of this and the acidity would definitely slice through the oil.
These are the worst caps.
The San Pellegrino caps?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awful.
Sandpill, what are you doing?
Again,
with these?
Italy.
This itty-bitty
Italy, what's
little-
going on, Italy? You're making great wines, but
ring
what's up with
falls
this
off everyone.
plastic metal cap thing you got going on? You can't make up your mind? What's
Highly
going on?
unfortunate.
Yep.
Anyhow, what do we got next, Hassan?
We have an Arnaise next. So Arnaise is a full-bodied white wine. I wanted to put Arnaise on this because I think a lot of people get stuck. I like Chardonnay.
I tried
like
to pour this by the
Chardonnay.
glass of the laundry, not this particular one, but this varietal,
Oh,
and
I remember.
it was crickets everywhere.
That's because people can't wrap their heads around it. It's not that they can't. It's just that they won't.
Well, it was wrong time too, because that was like 2011, 2010 when I was trying to do it.
So this is the DOCG label. This is a very fine wine from Piemonte. Piemonte is a region of Italy that is northwest Italy that actually even has their own dialect of Italian. Arnaise in Piemontese means little rascal. This grape,
A region known for red varietals. So most people
very known. Like if you've had a Barbaresco or Barolo anytime recently, or
And if you've
Nebbiolo
never had one,
Langhe.
go out and drink one tomorrow, right now.
Not even tomorrow. Do it
Yeah,
right now.
let it
Pause
breathe.
this podcast. Go out and buy one. Drink.
Let it breathe.
Open
Drink
it tonight, drink it tomorrow. A Nebbiolo de Langhe. Barbera d'Asti and Nebbiolo Langhe are probably the two most famous grapes from this region, but Arnaise is the white varietal that is grown in this region. Just north of Asti is where this is grown. It is from Roero. So Roero is the sub-appellation in Arnaise.
I'm getting
This
pouring
wine
sounds on
is
that.
lacking in color. It's very pale. The grape is apparently a huge pain in the ass to grow.
It's almost the same shade as my skin on camera.
I'm going to say it's darker.
Yeah, it's definitely darker.
Well played,
Take it
sir.
more.
Well played.
You're a pasty fella.
Which is weird because I'm part Maltese, so I don't know.
Really?
But I'm mainly German and Polish and French, so it's,
Yeah.
it's a whole
I
thing.
mean, Brooke's Palestinian with blue eyes, so
Fair.
there's that.
It's the melting pot, you know.
America. Milton Paul.
Also, Foley, I love that you wore your Run the Jewels shirt today.
Yeah, you like that?
Was that because Hassan was coming?
No, it's on the top of
It
the pile.
was,
It's on the
wasn't
top
it?
of the pile.
No, don't
I
lie.
need to pop a little color. It's like 60 out.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's very.
I've been trying
I
to
mean,
It's beautifully hot.
I'm coming out of my like wear all black.
By the way, if you don't know,
Shell.
shout out to RTJ. Shout out to my boy Amici.
Yes.
Y'all know who you are. We'll be working together soon.
Yeah, come see us. Come see us again at R&R.
Yeah,
thanks for
dude.
the goodie bag
The
full of
swag
stuff.
box,
Yeah,
yeah.
that jump jacket I got. I have a hard time not wearing it every single day.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that this
Plus,
bar,
your coffee's awesome.
yes, the fact that this bar is only a couple steps removed from Run the Jewels is so dope.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thanks, guys. It made
All
us
right.
feel really, really cool.
If you're ready to, okay, so we went boom, boom, boom. This is boom.
Yeah.
All right. Huge.
Jumps out of the glass,
Oh wow, yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not just acidity. There's
Full
just
and big.
like full, clean, lean fruit running
Yeah.
all the way through that thing.
It's well, this one in particular for me has a lot of orange blossom and pear. Just like I've never been smacked by an orange blossom, but I imagine if an orange blossom had hands and would smack me, that'd be it.
I feel like there was a girl named Orange Blossom who almost slapped me once, but it was a really busy party. I don't, I've never known anybody named Orange Blossom.
There was ecstasy involved.
I never see. That was not my scene.
No,
Ecstasy was never my scene. Okay,
Break the light stick.
but so now it's been a while. I've been in the spirits world for like 6 years. Moscato is also of this region.
Yeah.
Right? So an orange blossom and oranges in general are a tasting note.
very prevalent. Yeah,
Very prevalent in Moscato.
It's definitely a terroir-driven.
Right, and I think that there are people, especially in the spirits world for sure, who claim that terroir doesn't exist in spirits and downplay it in
which is
in
bullshit.
wine too,
That's
which is
bullshit.
which is horseshit. And to taste an Arnase from the Long or Piedmont and knowing that is also a flavor note in Moscato, that kind of carryover is fascinating to me. That we can have this kind of stamp.
I think it's very important to actually note things like that, because when people say terroir doesn't matter, that's utter bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, when you're in the grocery store and you're having your freaking Marlboro Sauv Blanc that's at the end cap there that you're going to take home, all of that grapefruit and the mild tropical fruit and the disappointing back end. I said that on purpose. The disappointing back end.
It is.
It's all sexy time up front.
Yeah.
But ladies, he's not going to finish it. Anyway. So anyway.
Just wants to sit outside and shoot threes. That's it.
But no, I mean,
Doesn't want to go inside.
Doesn't want to go
we've
inside.
talked about terroir being like an actual thing before on this podcast. We're talking about rum, and it applies to wine as well.
But it applies to everything. My point with Marlboro was that Marlboro is a lot of granite and some limestone. When you start looking at like Pouilly-Fumé and you start looking at Sancerre, you're looking at Portlandian limestone, which Kimmeridgian limestone has the little sediments of seashells which calcify the limestone more and transfer more acidity. And Melon de Bourgogne, the Melon de Bourgogne Muscats are Muscadets rather, excuse me, are fantastic there as a result of that. Move further inland, which still used to be submerged, and you've got Portlandian limestone, which does not have that and imparts a little bit of granite. And then you're looking at more stable levels of flavor. So when you're looking at Loire Valley Sauv Blanc versus Marlborough Sauv Blanc, you have a more stable. If you could make it like a sine curve, it would be a more stable 3 hits of flavor, starting with mild ruby red, if not white grapefruit, to mild tropical fruit to spiced peach on the back end. And so boom, boom, boom. With Marlboro, because of the actual kind of ground it's grown in and some of the windier places that it's grown, you get this big pushy ruby red grapefruit up front, and more notable gooseberry. Cat pee. We call it cat pee.
He's saying cat pee.
Say that. Smells like cat pee up front. If I'm ruining Sauv Blanc from Marlboro for you, good. Try some Loire Sauv Blancs. But anyway, you get pushy grapefruit. Then you get maybe a big, bright, very short hit of tropical fruit. And then the peach on the back end is, that last push, that yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no. Okay.
Did you finish? No. I'm terrible.
That's all right. The thing that I keep coming back to is, again, these are really, really affordable bottles. So if you're listening to the podcast or watching it and say like, well, you know what, man, I don't know if I care about all that. I just want to drink the wine. I just want something that tastes good. Well, good. You will get something that tastes really, really good. You will get something that's delicious and will probably inform what you eat, and you still will be paying about what you normally pay for wine.
So before we get to Franciacorta, this Arnase was $15.50, which is the most expensive bottle.
Deal.
But the Soave is $15. The Verdicchio is $12. There's one on here, honorable mention, Colorado from Sicily, that we didn't use. We thought that the Verdicchio outshone
It jumped all over it.
Yeah.
but the Verdicchio was less expensive than the one that we didn't use, and the Casale Borgio Colorado is $13.50.
There has never been a better time in the world to drink great cheap wine than there is right now.
I'm talking, and what I'm saying to you by mentioning these prices, what I'm saying to you is the average price of a grocery store first pick. We're talking about your yellowtails. We're talking about your barefoots. Your barefoots are going for $8.99, $9.99 a bottle. Your yellowtails are going for $10, $11. I'm talking $1 more to $3 more for something significantly better in terms of being a product, in terms of coming from hands that actually care about what they're doing with their wine. And by the way, almost everything that I've poured today is organic and sustainable,
Nice.
as is law in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, help the earth, help you.
Yeah.
Drink Italian wine.
And good growing techniques lead to good wine.
And I think it's important to say too, like, if you don't have, like, if you're not like me and you don't have friends who know wine really well and drink wine all the time, like, if you go into a reputable wine shop, don't be afraid to ask, the clerk or the store owner, like, hey, this is what I'm cooking. I would like, a red or a white to pair with it. And they'll help you out. Like, don't be scared and don't just always get yellowtail.
I'll still ask people. I mean, like, honestly, because the people in the store, mind you, I haven't tasted everything.
Yeah.
I'm still learning, and I will never stop learning. I walk into a wine shop. I'm assuming the guy in the wine shop, if he's the owner or even one of the guys that's been there a while, I'm assuming that man or lady has probably tasted a lot of the product on the wall, and that's why it's on the wall. So I'm going to ask them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these three. Which one impressed you the most?
Yep. Yeah. My point is just, like, don't always go to your go-tos, your yellowtails or your whatever.
Don't let that scary French and Italian on the label freak you
Just
out.
because you can't pronounce it doesn't mean it's not delicious.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, like, there are a couple of these that I could choke on while trying to pronounce, but but they're delicious.
Yeah, they are.
And this one, the explosiveness of this wine, I would actually prefer this to, unless it's, there's certain producers of Chardonnay from Burgundy that I really, truly do love. But I mean, I'd put this wine up against 90% of big bodied Chards easily.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
I would love to be invited to that blind tasting.
I'll
go to that in a heartbeat.
Fat bottom shards.
Fat bottom shards. Make Burgundy go round.
Oh, yes, they do.
Do we have one more before the last one?
We're gonna sign off with bubbles.
Okay,
cool. Sign off with some bubbles.
Yeah.
Cool. Am I grabbing that now?
You're grabbing that now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I haven't tasted that in a while.
That's awesome. That's great.
And that one's it's a big boy.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
I'm really happy with this one. This one and the Verdicchio for me are probably the two.
Yeah, I haven't had any of these, so these were all really fun. I mean, not these particular labels. I've had these varietals. Yeah, I don't think he's going to need that wine key guy.
Oh no. So
this one I've had before. This stuff is great.
So Franciacorta is the Italian version of Chardonnay, or Champagne, excuse me. Actually, it's not the Italian version of Champagne. And I say that, I want to correct myself because the rules for this are actually more strict than they are for Champagne. So if it's not from the Champagne region, it's just sparkling wine.
Also, actually, Japanese single malt is not Japanese Scotch.
No.
Stop doing that.
Yes.
It's its own product. Its region is completely different. They make whiskey in Japan too. You don't get to call it Japanese Scotch. That's a bad thing.
Real quick, Hassan, should we have flutes for this?
No.
Okay.
So here's my thing with flutes.
I think I hate flutes for the same reason that you do.
Flutes are stupid.
Okay.
Flutes are
Heard
dumb.
that.
No, I mean, like, honestly, there's no reason for a flute. A flute is to make you look fancy and to make your hands look slimmer, and flutes are for wealthy white women on diets. I don't know.
Well, luckily, I don't need a flute because as the rest of me swells, I still have these nice little spider fingers that are still very thin.
As the rest of me swells. Like
Play me
sands
a
through the
song.
hourglass.
Like
Oh,
sands
no.
to the hourglass.
Play me a song on the piano.
Yep, still skinny fingers.
So anyway, Franciacorta is this very, very unique thing from Lombardy. Lombardy is in the central north of Italy, and again, used to be Germany. As a matter of fact, everybody has this idea about Italians of the whole color scheme thing. Lombardis tend to be blonde or redheaded with very light eyes, green and blue.
There are lots of blonde Italians,
There are a lot of blonde Italians, but America.
but not in the movies.
You ain't got every knuckles. You can't be an Italian. Bing bong.
Oh God.
So
How many fingers do you use when you point at somebody? Because if you're a stereotypical Italian, you use 3 of them.
3 fingers.
Like Polly Walnuts.
You want a fresh one? You want a fresh one?
Exactly like Polly Walnuts. That's what I was thinking.
So,
yeah.
Franciacorta is really cool because it actually has to be vinified for 25 months. It has to see the yeast for 18 months, at least, just to be called Franciacorta. And then if it has an age statement on it, that means that it has been aged for at least 37 months and 30 months with yeast. So there are some really strict rules. You'll notice again, DOCG.
So this is fancy stuff.
Yeah, this is pretty fancy. Denominazione di origine controllata garantita.
Yes.
That means that shit's guaranteed.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
It's
turned
got its
on.
bona fides.
I don't know. about
Also,
you.
once again, sparkling wine is not just for special occasions. It's for all the time. And it's the
And
greatest
this is why-
aperitif in the world.
This is why I'm introducing this, is because like sparkling wines don't have to be champagne. This isn't champagne. It's less expensive than champagne, but the rules are stiffer than champagne, honestly. The grapes are very, very similar. So we are using typically a combination of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. However, Pinot Nero and Pinot Bianco can be added. There is a Seitan version that has at least 70% Chardonnay.
70% more Satan.
Yes.
Oh, also, when opening your
Which
champagne,
makes it the most metal of all sparkling wine regions.
try to do it quietly. Try to control the cork. You may be celebrating, but somebody else may have had the worst day in their life, and they don't want to hear your little stupid pop and you giggling about,
Sure.
I got some Cristal, son. Ooh, can we get some big booty hose so I can pour this down the bucket?
You know what? I called a few people, but nobody was available to come. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they were
want
all
my
busy.
phone.
I'm just saying my network is a little smaller than it used to be. I'm in my 40s now.
I did wear my thong. So
Did you?
We can.
Thank you. I feel
I mean, it's a little hairy. I didn't know that it was going to be me,
but
but
be a separate.
What color is it? It's probably it's yellow.
Look forward to Hassan's OnlyFans for the last 5 minutes of this podcast.
Wow, 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 wow.
And we have about 5 minutes left. So
Yes, we do. Yep.
let's enjoy this bubbly.
so on the nose, one of the things that I note for this is fresh baked bread.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that I think is an extension of the yeast itself.
It's there though.
Giggling
No, but it's
about?
there. It's so funny. Like that kind of like super strange associative thing. Like when it
The
it
power
also
of
applies.
suggestion.
Well, no, but when it also applies to your palate, you kind of get it. You're like, wow, that's so fucking weird. Like these
Yeah.
strange connections that you can make between things in
Ooh.
the world are just delightful.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You
yeah.
never had this
No.
Franciacorta before? Not this one, but any.
Mm.
Franciacorta is a little sharper than champagne typically, and this is. Brut.
I mean,
I love
So-
sparkling wine.
When I say brut, that means it's going to be drier than dry. It's very, very dry. There's very little sweetness, but the sharpness
Super
of
tight
the Pinot
carbonation.
Noir is actually shining through on this a little
Mhm.
bit.
Mhm.
So Pinot Noir in champagnes usually adds a bit of drive-through in linearity. Otherwise, the champagne is very creamy and goes across the palate. And Franciacorta, because they can use a little bit more Pinot Noir, the drive of linearity in the center palate, in the middle of your tongue, right down the channel, is right there.
It goes.
Yeah.
It's like. Whoop.
I love this so much more than champagne.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it's easier to drink.
Yeah.
The bubble is not quite as fine.
Mhm.
It's a little more
a little looser.
It's less creamy, but
Yeah.
I think at the same time it offers a breadth that champagne doesn't have.
Yes.
And also, dude, $30 for this. Now,
Woo!
if I'm looking at a champagne of equivalent value, I'm
$90.
minimum 75 to 90.
Yeah.
So
and
expensive.
then we can really, I mean, if we start talking about Taittinger and other
Oh
products,
my God,
we can-
it's so much north of that.
Yeah.
even the Seitan and the Meliminato I'm saying that wrong.
Satan
Anyway.
and the Illuminati? Shit.
They know everything.
Oh my God.
Hide your wives.
So we're talking about Italy and we're talking about Northern Italy.
Anyway,
It makes me think of Foucault's Pendulum, like Umberto Eco is a Northern Italian writer, and he's got this like super fucking crazy book all about that stuff. Really,
even the
wine
vintage
drunk and
versions of
read that.
this, we're still only getting north of $100 by
Which
a
is
little
not
bit.
bad at
No.
all.
No,
I mean,
no,
yeah.
especially
if you're in the market
celebrating
for
something.
great sparkling,
Franciacorta is the way to go.
you
man.
can spend that no problem.
Cava or Franciacorta, and the reason I introduce this is because everybody thinks Prosecco is similar to Champagne Glera,
Not
and the production is very different. The bubble's very different. The production style is very different. It's not the same at all.
see.
It
We had
has
this problem in the
bubbles.
late '80s and early '90s when Hollywood producers thought that Steven Seagal was similar to a regular good action hero. He was not.
He was.
Okay, he was no Stallone.
He had a very shiny ponytail that was quite distracting.
He
Very
runs
true.
with noodle
It's
arms.
very true.
Hold on.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to hit you in the throat real quick. Throw it in your refrigerator. I win.
All right, boys. Well, we got to wrap this up.
This is it.
Hassan, you have some books in front of you. Did you want to shout those out at all?
I
or-
did. I do. Okay, so this one's not terribly expensive. This is the Wine Folly Magnum Edition. Madeline Puckett and Justin Hammock have done this incredible thing where they use infographics to inform you about styles of wine and flavor characteristics, regionality. It's digestible information for those of you that
Super
are interested.
accessible. Yeah, you would give it to a new server.
Yeah,
at a wine
I
restaurant. Yeah.
absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have actually used this in our development program at the Laundry
Yep.
For information. And this, for the more advanced people, Hugh Johnson and Jancis Robinson. Jancis Robinson is considered one of the foremost experts in wine vinification, varietal styles, profiling, flavors, etc. This is the World Atlas of Wine, the 8th edition. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has been complete as far as my studying for the L3 SOM exam. I'm scared of that one. Anyway,
You can do it.
I'm
You're
a
gonna
little
kill it.
worried about it. I gotta be honest. But anyway,
When you pass, we'll have the celebration party here. I'll give you like the back 5 tables
and if I don't
Yes.
pass, you'll find me in
in
some.
the corner of the bar with some
You'll find me in
mezcal.
some dirty underwear at my
Oh.
house in the backyard, in the back
no.
corner by the flowers,
Yeah,
sitting there in my wife beater. Oh, tank top. We don't say wife beater.
no, we don't.
Yes, that's very
I'm
true.
50. I'm allowed to say these things.
Oh my God.
So anyway, if you're interested in learning a little bit more, those books are kind of key in actually understanding wine a little bit. I know we all sound ridiculous as wine professionals. We say these silly words that we learned in our English literature 1 and 2 level classes in college, and we use these ridiculous descriptives. But we are trying, and we are literally endeavoring to understand the wine ourselves and convey that information to you as best we can.
Here.
My point in introducing you to Italian whites is to introduce you to something that is not only affordable, but fantastic and levels above a lot of the grocery store end cap wines that you're going to find. Go a little bit outside your way and go to a mom and pop wine shop or go to a Total Wine if you have to, and check some of this stuff out. Make an effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have about 3 minutes left. I can lock you in for a fall red show, right?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should decide whether or not it's like Spanish stuff or Rhone stuff. That could be a lot of fun.
Oh,
If we're
man, why
doing
you putting baby in the
Spanish,
corner
I'm
like
already
that?
Because
turned
I'm
on.
going to do it, and we can decide offline about that. But before I say goodbye to everybody, I have a lot of fond memories of discovering wine with you from the laundry, and we don't get to hang out that much anymore. So thanks for being on the show.
Yes, thank you
I
so
appreciate
much,
it.
Hassan.
Really
It was a real
appreciate
fun
it. Yeah.
time.
No, this was
Awesome.
This was awesome. I obviously haven't done anything like this before. I feel fancy. I'm gonna go ahead. There we go.
You killed
There
it,
we go.
bud.
Yes.
There we go.
All right.
This is-
Before we sign off, be sure to check out all of our social medias. Relief and Resource Company on Facebook, Relief and Resource on
Yeah.
Instagram, and Relief_Resource
I'd
on
have some
Twitter.
more classes coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, come
Yeah,
holla at
Whiskey
your boy
Fest
at Single
again.
Barrel Social too.
Yeah,
I'll
check
hook
out
you
Hassan.
up.
Yeah, I haven't
Single
been there
Barrel
yet. I'm
Social,
going to.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
cheers,
gentlemen.
boys.
Cheers, guys.
Plancha, salud y muchas suertes.
Prost.
Whatever.
Adios, everybody.
Later,
Thank
guys.
you again.
Thanks.
This is quickly going to be outside of my talent wheelhouse, so let's tone it down.
It's not the same at all.
See,
it
we had
has
this problem in the
bubbles.
late 80s and early 90s when Hollywood producers thought that Steven Seagal was similar to a regular good action hero. He was not.
He was.
Okay, he was no Stallone.
He had a very shiny ponytail that was quite distracting.
He runs with noodle arms.
It's very true.
Hold on.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to hit you in the throat real quick. Throw it in your refrigerator. I win.